The blue wall of silence manifests itself again in this case. You won't be surprised. Hi, Tony DeWitt here. I'm a Missouri appellate attorney, retired, and I bring you a fresh perspective on the law without offering any legal advice. So pull up a chair. This is what we're discussing today. Suppose you have a witness that you know you need to call, but you know that they're going to try to run away from what they've said to you before, which is one of the reasons why you take statements. And for the most part, it's one of the reasons why you take everything down or have one court reported, because in most case states, it's against the ethical rules for an attorney to record, audio record somebody's statement. But you use a reporter or a very fast note taker to take down all the things. You type it up and you have them sign it. In this case, she didn't do that. She didn't sign a statement. But clearly, she did have a conversation with the FBI. They keep dancing around this law enforcement agency as if it is some big mystery when the jury knows exactly that they're talking about the FBI. But this witness that you're going to bring on, you know they are going to lie. They're going to stick to the story that they have created to get around the fact that at the first point in this, that they had an opportunity to tell the truth, they told the truth. So how do you handle that? In fact, why do you even put them on if you know that they're going to lie about the case and call it a conspiracy theory? Well, sometimes the reason that you do that is to expose a larger group of liars. So this first clip here deals with, did you actually see something? And instead of answering the question, she dances around it. Let's watch.
Did you observe anything unusual that stood out in your mind that occurred, pardon me, in the Sally Port while you were on that ship?
So we've discussed this previously. I can't make that statement on the stand because I've been provided information released by the defense that it was not a memory, that it was a distorted memory. Therefore, I can't state it because at this point it would be a lie. I cannot make that statement that you're wanting me to make on the stand because I've advised that that would be a lie.
A couple of things to notice here. One, watch her blink rate. And watch when she says no and when she says that's a lie. Notice how she closes her eyes when she says things that are important. Doesn't necessarily mean that she's a liar, but it is an indication of somebody who isn't telling the truth. And again, it varies with each individual. You can talk to a lot of different body language experts, but based on what I know about microexpressions, about body language and neuro-linguistic programming, I believe this woman is lying on the stand. That's my opinion. All of the things that I say here are my opinion. They are not to be taken as fact.
Ms. Dever, I've never asked you to make a statement one way or the other on the stand. I'm asking you an open-ended question.
Okay,
Let me ask the question. Did you observe something in the Sallyport garage on January 29th, 2022 that you found unusual, that stuck out in your mind?
Given factual information that makes it so I know I did not, no.
So the answer is no.
Correct.
Do you remember being interviewed on August 9th, 2023?
I do.
That was by a separate law enforcement agency, correct?
Yes.
Two separate law enforcement agents, is that right?
Yes.
And you were advised during the course of that interview on August 29th of something, correct?
Can you rephrase
I'm sorry,
that?
August 9th.
So what was I advised of? Can you rephrase that?
Sure. Were you advised that lying to those officers would be a crime?
So it was a willing conversation. I've spoken with their legal team. Because of the fact I was providing factual information that showed a statement of mine was a false memory, it was not a lie. Therefore, I made it in good faith, and I retracted given information that it could not be accurate.
Notice what she didn't say there. She didn't answer the question. The question was a pretty simple one. Did they tell you it was a crime to lie to them? She wouldn't answer the question, and she's still going to fight on this.
Did you understand my question?
Yes, I did. You threatened to charge me with perjury during our phone call prior to the first trial if I didn't lie on the stand right now. I'm telling you, I did not see anything. Factually, I've been provided evidence by a timeline that it is not correct.
Ms. Dever, my question was this. Were you advised that it was a crime to lie to those law enforcement agents? Yes or no?
No.
This is almost certainly a lie based on my experience. It's my opinion. I have gone through countless relator interviews with people who have made false claims act charges, essentially telling the government that somebody was ripping them off. They have to be interviewed, and they're interviewed by federal officers, whether it's HHS or the FBI. Somebody comes in and interviews them, and one of the first things out of their mouth is this: if you lie to us, it's a federal crime. Do you understand that? And of course, all my people said, "Oh, yeah, that's right, I understand that."
They never told you, they never admonished you that it would be a crime to lie to them?
Objection. Sustained. As to form, Mr. Jackson.
Sure. Did they advise you of anything? Any consequences of lying to
So we had a willing
you?
conversation.
Yes or no?
I don't recall.
Okay, there's your answer.
You don't recall if they advised you of anything?
No, because it
As a
wasn't.
trained law enforcement agent.
Go ahead and ask a question,
Sure.
but both of you only one at a time, okay?
As a trained law enforcement officer, are you aware that it's a crime to lie to certain other law enforcement agents?
When you have intent to lie, yes.
So you knew that when you spoke to these law enforcement officers, correct?
Yes.
Did you tell these law enforcement officers that you, in fact, saw Brian Higgins and Chief Berkowitz go into the Sallyport with the
Objection.
SUV? May I finish my question?
He can finish this question. Go ahead.
Did you tell those law enforcement agents on August 9th, 2023, that you saw Brian Higgins and Chief Berkowitz go into the Sallyport together and alone with the SUV for a wildly long time?
That was my recollection at the time.
So you did say that.
At the time, that is what I recollected.
Okay.
Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, well, gosh, this would be a really good time to stop because you've got what you wanted, right? But he's not going to stop. And the reason he's not going to stop is because she has now said several times, you told me you were going to charge me with perjury. You told me not to lie, but this is not a lie. And the reason it's not a lie is because it's a false memory. But there's more to the story than that. And Jackson is going to get around to that here in just a bit.
You and I spoke along with Mr. Unetti and Ms. Little on a conference call last year. You remember that?
Yes.
Between the time that you were interviewed on August 9th, 2023, and when we spoke sometime in maybe it was April or so of last year, does that sound about right?
Yes.
Did you have any conversation with any other party about your potential involvement in this case?
No.
Did you have a conversation with anybody in the commissioner's office at Boston Police Department?
Not about anything malicious.
I think you used the word malicious. Why do you say malicious?
I had a conversation, but it was my department saying, regardless of what I need to say on the stand, they support me.
You were asked to go to the commissioner's office, correct?
Yes.
How long had you been on the Boston Police Department at the time that you were invited to go up to Commissioner Michael Cox's office?
It had to have been before the first trial. So, and I know it was when the agency released information to outside people. Okay, so I don't recall.
You don't recall how long you had been on the force, generally, at the time that you were called up to the commissioner's office, on the Boston Police Department?
No.
Was it 5 years, 2 years, 2 months? Give me a ballpark.
So I've been on the department for 2 years and 2 months. I would say somewhere in the range of
Now,
a year.
clearly, she could have given that answer at the beginning, but she didn't. And what she wanted to do was filibuster again because she doesn't want to be there testifying. I thought it was very interesting when she said, well, not about anything malicious. Well, malice implies some intent to do harm. And so is she thinking that being asked to testify falsely is harm? Well, it is harmful, but it really was malicious. Again, when you look at her blink rate and you look at the way she's twisting around in her chair from time to time, moving forward, moving backwards, all of the things that she's doing with her body language as well as her blink rate, she is very clearly nervous answering these questions, and she's trying to fog her answers so as to cloud or cloak the truth of the matter, which is she got her behind called up to the commissioner's office, and it's not an invitation that you can say no to.
Did you find it unusual for would you call yourself a rookie back then?
Yes,
Did you find it unusual that a rookie police officer would be called up to the commissioner's office?
it was a reflection of how good of a leader he is. It was not anything that I found unusual, given the fact he is someone who wanted to show support for his officer.
And there's the tell. This is a woman who wants to advance in the Boston Police Department. She knows that she was basically called on the carpet and read the riot act for talking to the FBI in the first place. And then she knows that if she wants to do well in the department, she needs to, as Alan Jackson will tell us in a little bit, do the right thing. However, doing the right thing might very well have two different connotations in this regard. Doing the right thing here might mean covering the other officers' behinds. And that's sort of what I think it means. But it's so telling here that she gives this basically she's putting a big old kiss right on the batucus of the Boston Police Commissioner. Oh, he's such a great leader. Please. I mean, you don't have to try so hard. You should just be able to lie naturally.
I don't recall.
Okay. But you do remember saying something to the effect of, I know you're going to tear me a new one, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we get into the cross-examination again by Mr. Brennan, who is absolutely horrible at this because everybody sees through what he's doing here. But he gets her into a situation where he says, well, why didn't you just lie? It would have been so much easier. Watch what she says.
Rather than to come in here and be attacked, wouldn't it have been easier just to said what you had earlier thought was true?
I'm going to allow that.
Wouldn't it be easier just to come in and accommodate them rather than be threatened?
Well, of course.
So why did you come in here?
My entire job revolves around what I say on the stand right now. If I was to lie, I lose my job. I lose everything. I'm here to tell the truth. I cannot lie while sitting on this stand.
Did you hear that? Did you hear what she said? My entire career depends on what I say on this stand right now. Jackson will later go at her with that statement, but he omits the right now. The right now is the most important part of that, because a lot of times the truth slips out in what you say. And essentially, she's telling everybody the Boston PD brass is watching her on the stand right now.
One question.
Okay.
Your entire job revolves around what you say on the witness stand. Is that what you just testified to?
Yes.
And if you agree that what you said to those two law enforcement agents on August 9th, 2023, you would be implicating not one, but two police officers, law enforcement officers, correct? If you agreed with what you said in August 2023 on this witness stand, you would be implicating two officers, fellow officers, correct?
So I'm confused as to what you're asking.
You would be implicating, if you agreed, you have not agreed that that was the truth. You've now indicated that what you told the law enforcement agents in August of 2023 was a lie.
No,
If you agreed with that statement here on the witness stand, you would be implicating two officers as having been in the Sally Port, weirdly, for a wildly long time with the SUV, implicating not one, but two fellow officers, correct? That's what you would be doing.
It's not possible I
If
saw
you
that.
agreed with
Objection.
me, would you be implicating the reputations of 2 officers?
If I was to lie, then yes.
And your entire job revolves around what you say on that witness stand. That's what you said, correct?
I'm still,
That's what you just said, Officer Dever, correct?
I still don't really understand the question.
You just said, all I'm asking you is what you just said. I wrote it down. You just said, my entire job revolves around what I say on the witness stand, correct?
Yes to that question.
So, again, you can draw your own conclusions from this testimony, but it seems pretty obvious to me that A, she didn't want to be here, she didn't want to be called, she was going to fight on every question, and her job was to be as obstreperous as possible and to diffuse and refuse to answer questions. And instead of answering yes or no questions with a yes or no, answer them with whatever was convenient at the time and to filibuster as much as she could. Jackson was pretty good about keeping her on track, but overall, I would say this was a C plus endeavor to begin with, just because she was very clearly committed to the idea of lying under oath, if indeed that's what she did. Again, that's my opinion. That's not a statement of fact. I believe she lied under oath. That's my opinion. Again, you should form your own opinion.
That's what I have for you today. I hope you found it helpful, interesting, or maybe both. If there's a subject you'd like me to discuss, please feel free to send me an email at the address above. If you like what we do, please feel free to subscribe and come on back to the beach tomorrow. I release videos every weekday, weather and work permitting. If you have the opportunity today, do a kindness for your fellow man. It makes the world a better place, one kind act at a time. And now, YouTube has some suggestions for other videos of mine that you might like.